President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed a major slash of travel delegation for all federal government official trips within and outside the country. The Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngulali, disclosed these on Tuesday during a press briefing at the State House in Abuja. He said the directive means a 60% slash across the board and affects all MDAs, including the office of the President, Vice President, and First Lady. Accordingly, when any international travel is being approved on all ministries, from members of their staff, appointees, and their likes will be allowed to travel with a minister on an official trip. And for heads of agency, that will be limited to just 2 members of staff to travel on the official trip, Ajuri said. The president has also now approved for official travel that not more than 20 individuals be allowed to travel with him. The special advisor said that also the number for the First Lady is 5, and that for the Vice President and his wife is also 5. For local trips only, 25 members are allowed to accompany Mr. President for domestic trip within the country. For the First Lady, it is 10, for the Vice President 15, and his wife just 10 also. Such, Mr. President has directed that every federal MDAs, also including the office of Mr. President itself and the office of the Vice President, as well as the office of the First and Second Ladies, are affected and bored by this directive of the President. Ajuri said that the President is insisting that the move was government's move to deal with the issue of wastage and to ensure that recurrent expenditure is in excess, and the notion that government officials will be allowed to conduct their affairs in the way that is directed or different from what they are asking of Nigerian citizens concerning prudence and cost of management these days are over. Also yesterday, the suspended Minister of the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry, Beta Edu, was jailed for hours by the Economic and Crime Financial Commission over the 585 million naira scandal. With all of this happening, Nigerians are already asking, is there going to be a new change in governance that is hinged on prudence and accountability? Well, these and others, as it concerns this, is what this edition of The Big Story is all about. And we're talking about federal government move to restore prudence and accountability in government. And that's what we're having as a major discourse today on The Big Story. We're taking a look at the federal government's recent move to restore prudence and accountability in government, all in the need to ensure that Nigeria still revive or relieve the belief that indeed the government is doing something as it concerns that. But anyway, he's right here in the studio with us, and we're talking of no other person but the State PRO Committee for the Defense of Human Rights and also the National Secretary Human Rights Protection Congress. We're talking of activist Kevin Ojomodo. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Well, Mr. Ray, Happy New Year. Well, Happy New Year to our esteemed viewers and listeners.
Well, anyway, my Nigerians will also feel a sign of relief and also smile to say it's a happy move for them with what they saw yesterday. But anyway, talking about what they saw yesterday, a lot happened yesterday. Yes. And on account of this, our discussion. But I want us to first start with the new directive coming from Mr. President himself as it concerns the slashing of delegation for federal government troops, both locally and abroad. And I really love to get your reaction to that very move by Mr. President. But also, I'll ask you, now do you feel, with that very move he made yesterday, he's now listening to the yearnings of Nigerians who have been calling for the cutting down of the cost of governance, or is he looking at the books and also, well, knowing that the recurrence is just too much when it's compared to the capital and he needs to do something about it?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ray. I would say I must give kudos and thumbs up to Mr. President for obeying the clarion call. You know, over the years, Nigerians have been clamoring for the cut down of the cost of governance, because we've seen a lot of wastages.
Yes.
The means and ends to which monies have been embezzled, unnecessary trips that they go for, you see the delegations, all of these are uncalled for. If we are going for an international functions, 15 persons going with the president, cool. Not the other ones that will say about 60 persons going there. What are they going there to do? Some will just be in the hotel, lavish our money, come back, and nothing to argue about. So I think it's a wake-up call, and I'm happy it came at the first month of the financial year, which means at least from now till December, they're going to save from that end. But my concern is, now the budget has been passed already.
I was almost going there, but before I allow you go there, so do you feel he's now looking at the books and saying, so if you feel that's a good move, which everybody is really applauding Mr. President, but is he looking at the books and now knowing, because that's what he said. He said the notion that the recurrent is more than that of the capital, it's out of place. Yes. So is it that he's now being moved with the present move that, oh yes, our recurrent cannot always be more than the capital? If you look at it over the years, we've had 75% running for recurrent, while just mere 20% going for capital. So do you feel he's now seeing that as a problem coming to do with the issue of unavailability of funds, and hence he wants to do something about it, rather than just the clarion call coming from Nigerians to cut down on government?
I think he must have read between the lines and see for himself that running 2024,
yes,
the way they ran the half part of 2023 will lead us to a disaster point. And as a president, he is a capitalist. He's a business statesman.
Yes.
He must have done his indices and say, okay, like they did for the proof of ownership for vehicles. Now every year you pay 1,000 naira.
Yes.
He said those monies will be used to maintain the federal roads, which we are waiting
to see how
it's going to play out, because he came in. Let's say last year we gave him just 6 months and all that, but this year now you're running your own budget for the financial year. So I think, give and take, the president has done well in first of all taking this bold step. We must applaud him for taking the bold step, because a whole lot of his cabinet, some gnashing their teeth, because a lot of them must have calculated what they will make from their travels and their luxury this year. But since 60% is a good slash. But my second concern is this. We Nigerians need to know these monies.
What would they
be channeled into? Because when you give us a directive, we want to say a workable template. They just want to understand the running of the government. And hence, you see, before now we'll be clamoring that what are you doing with a lot of SSAs, EAs, and all of that? What are they doing? Some of them don't even go to the office from January to December. They just sit at home and collect salaries. And those are wastages from government. We need to produce for our wider society. The economy is increasing every day. Population is increasing every day from 200 million. We're going further. So we need to plan for the next generation. And how do we do this? Government must come up with policies that would gainsay into people-driven policies, where the poverty level will be reduced. You know you can't eradicate it, but it must be reduced to the barest minimum. Okay, and Nigerians can smile again with the fresh of bread time. Okay,
now talking about the budget, let's just understand this, because the president's spokesman said the essence of the reduction was to bring total sanity and also prudence in the management of resources. And he also said something yesterday that caught my attention. And he said any official that flouts the directive will be doing that at his or her own peril. That means government will definitely be taking the big stick as it concerns these very directives. Now, which now forces me to ask a question. Now, the question is, don't you feel, because we're looking at the ministries and departments, they are also well affected by this, but they submitted their budget last year.
Yes.
And in submitting their budget last year, travel expenses were added to all of it.
Yes.
So my question, which a budget that was passed just the very last day of the year 2023. So my question now is, should this not have come earlier before they prepare their budget? Because you're talking about what will the excess money be used for. And we do know that when excess monies are there, they always find a means of taking it away. So would this move not have come earlier before the budget was defended, before it was passed and signed into law? Because the money is already there. Whether you slash it or not, they've already been provided for. So should it have not come earlier than this, rather than coming now when the budget has already been passed? And these monies would definitely go another way.
You know, Nigerians, when the budget was submitted to the National Assembly, Nigerians frown at it, that the budget is ridiculous.
Okay.
That the budget is cumbersome, it's too huge. we should cut down cost. And the president didn't give the listening ear to the plight of Nigerians at that time. Hence, they even added to it. They added money to the budget, and it was swiftly passed, very fast. Now, having said that, it now shows that perhaps, he must have seen the ways and means that this money will be diverted into other parts of the economy. My take is, let's not rush it.
Okay.
Let's wait and see if those money because now the money has not been given out.
Most certainly.
To the ministries and agencies.
And
it hasn't been given out. So let's see at that point of keep dishing out this money, if the same amount that they're putting, because they put in all their costs, travel allowances for domestic staff and all their EAs and S's and all of that, they impute them into the budget. So we want to see at the point of this money being disbursed to different departments, ministries and agencies, we are going to know if this same amount that was ab initio included in the budget will be distributed to this department.
Because the reason I ask, because most of our policies and directives are basically on paper.
Yes.
They've never had full implementation. Yes. And that's where Nigerians and I are a bit skeptical about this recent directive coming from Mr. President. There's one thing to say, okay, these monies, slash your entourage, slash the monies you're using. But Nigerians will also want to ask, yes, okay, well, it's basically on transport and also entourage as it concerns trip. But should we also, the federal government not go further as it concerns also expenses as it concerns allowances, feeding, and not only that, but also furniture. We heard some very, very, very funny input into the budget and the talk. So should such a slash not also go into some of these majors that seem to be taking the larger chunk as it concerns most of the recurrent?
I think it is to go in two areas, the vehicles and also the furniture.
Okay.
Because if you have a good furniture in your house, I think 4 years is not good a time to change it.
Yeah, but most ministers will tell you the previous minister used it, so they need their own taste and their own furnishing to furnish their own according to how they feel.
Because they want to live a lavish lifestyle in governance. We've seen prime ministers in other countries, we've seen presidents in other countries living a very modest life, simple life. We saw the prime minister of Britain riding on a bicycle.
Of course.
To work.
And the former Chancellor of Germany herself doing her laundry.
Run on a bike to their office and do their thing and go home. But Nigeria, when a man gets an appointment, the first thing he wants to do, he wants to subdue his territory. For them to know that, yes, I've arrived. So it's going to be a win-win situation because the masses, you see, I said now Nigerians are getting more wiser. Right for now, Nigerians will tell you, I better forget anything, not concerned. But now everybody is concerned because you are seeing that the level of hardship every day is increasing. So people are now asking, well, the monies that have been generated in this country, how are they usually used? Okay. So that has brought about a lot of awareness. Even like us as activists, we do a lot of sensitization programs in our different platforms. So people are more aware and they are more concerned about the running course of governance. Also, governors and local government chairmen must also step into this.
I would love us to go there also because that call was also made loudest yesterday by no other person but former state governor of Kano State, Shakarau. But let's still remain with this very directive coming from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, if we look into the budget of 2023, about 14.2 billion was spent for the presidency alone in expenses. I'm talking feeding and others.
50 billion to renovate the House of...
Well, anyway, let's leave renovation, but just talk about his own personal spending because I don't want us to add up the sum and confuse our listeners and viewers. But let's stick with it. 14.2 billion was spent for the presidency alone in 2023 budget. On the mining, it is now different from what it has gone up to about 16 point something billion for his feeding and the rest this year. But let's look at that. But my next question will be what I asked initially. Okay. Yes, now, this money is there. That's why everybody applauded him in making this bold move and taking this stand on it. But my question still remains. We've seen countless issues of, yes, we want to do this, they slash the money, we want to deal with the issue of subsidy, they remove the money, but these monies are also stolen through another means. And we're quite sure, like I said initially, that already these ministries and departments have already made such demand in the budget. So are they not going to find every other means to siphon these monies that are already there in the budget? Because why I ask, how important is it that when it comes to us following this money, following the slashes, following those that are being saved, and see whether it is there to be? Because we are now applauding for a good move, but how are we sure that these monies will not be stolen through other means and ways?
You see, over the years, we've seen looted funds that were returned to the coffers of the government.
And
relooted. So this has brought a lacuna in the minds of Nigerians. It has brought a lot of distrust, that Nigerians have lost the trust in their leadership. And President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, this is the time for him to ensure that Nigerians will not buy his trust. Because now we've seen, okay, yes, it's laudable, made a good move. We're also going to see further how the template is going to play out. Because now, EFC and ICPC must write innovation. The president has given this, they have to monitor how these monies are being disbursed and how it's being spent. Because I keep wondering, how come EFC is so docile, ICPC is so docile? Because it's their job, it's their mandate to monitor budget allocations. The minute it's approved and money is being distributed, you start following project X, project Y, and give the masses your own recommendations. Not just running after you wait for the government to commit before you go and start interviewing the persons. No, you investigate. That's EFC, they're like the FBI and the CIA. You investigate the person before you even arrest the person. So when you are bringing them to book, it swiftly you charge to court, and the person prosecuted. But when you go and arrest, when you start investigating the person, then you won't have a lot of facts on the table. So I don't understand what they are doing, not to investigate. They are wait when whistleblowers start blowing whistles and all of that, then they come in and start their job. Now, trust issue coming. Nigerians will want to test also the integrity of the president. He has told us he's ready to serve the populace. So we want to test his integrity to see if at the end of the day, this money will be given to those ministries, agencies, and practitioners, and the exact money that was quoted for will not be that given. But we want to see where that money, now you slap
the excess.
The excess, where is it going to? Are you going to use that money to say, okay, we're going to use that excess money to revamp Warri Refinery? I'm going to use that money, part of that money to revamp Kaduna Refinery? I'm going to use that money to boost our textile mill? Or look at how we can do a good export through our good timber wood that we have to neighboring African countries? Those are areas, great areas the government will have to look into. Are we going to get our power supply using that part to dredge the dam? So Nigerians want to know, and we are following them keenly. If they don't do that, we also drag them out. Mr. President, you slash 60%, but we're not seeing the effect on the larger populace. 60% is a big duration. It's a big amount. It's going by the indices of that budget. Yeah. So we just want to know where those monies will be spent into. But we saw the Abacha loot was coming during Buhari's administration. To date, we don't know where those monies were invested into the economy.
Okay, well, anyways, a quick one now. Let's look at the issue also of cost of governance. The Orosaye report is one of the most detailed report as it concerns slashing down governance. And yesterday, just like he made a slash on the issue of entourage, there was this growing call for him to also trim down his ministries and departments and agencies, because most of them kind of do more of a double function, and some are also docile. So let's look at that, because as much as we're saving something as it concerns slashing entourage, it is quite minimal when it concerns also some of these agencies and ministries that are having double functions. So let's look at this. Is this not also a time now, being at the helms of affairs, for him to do something about that report? That report has been on the shelves in the presidential villa for the past 15 years. So is this not time he can also take that piece of document, dust it out, and also see how it can be implemented to really help us save costs as it concerns that of governance?
You see, Nigeria has become, they reduced the bar of governance over the years, that such intellectual templates are not being used as a running formula to run government. Now, the Orosaye report was well detailed, like we have the Jonathan Confab Summit.
Confab 2014.
Those documents are vital. They are pivotal in the way we unite and annex this country and ensure that government becomes accountable. And you see, adjustments will not boil down. Rather every day you see people adjusting from different parts of the country. Now you agree with me that a lot of ministries, they do almost like same job.
Yeah, double function.
But they are just there collecting monies, enjoying the budget, enjoying the luxury of governance, and they don't bring back anything to the running cost of government. Now you agree with me that you bring a Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, you bring a Ministry of Empowerment and all that. Those issues can be, you can stream them and just have one ministry to do all of that. The tax is not much. We saw on the Brighton, he gave Fashola, Minister of Works, and gave him attached about 2 ministries to him to handle. Those are wasted. If you cannot perform, like Tinubu has given them a national order, if you cannot perform, you leave center stage. Let those that can perform come in. And I think if he's not wrong with that, he said he's going to evaluate them at 6 months and yearly. Yeah. So if you're not performing, then you leave stage for somebody else to come in.
We're talking about leaving it. I'll plead with you. Let's leave it for now. Let's go on a break now. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion centered on the recent move by the federal government to deal with the issue of prudence and accountability, especially taking that move yesterday to slash 60% of our travel allowance, especially as it concerns not just the president and the vice president himself and their first ladies, but also as it concerns ministry, department, and agencies, and how that can truly be implemented. Let's go on a break.